Have you ever watched the NBA and wondered, how do these humans do it? You ever watch and wonder, there must be something more than just hard work and good genes at play? The MLB, the NFL, cycling, and other popular sports have had all their fair shares of doping scandals, but not the NBA. I'm going to explain how the NBA has never had a PEDs scandal. PEDs stands for Performance Enhancing Drugs. There has never been a performance enhanced drug scandal in the NBA. That isn't the case for the MLB or the NFL, where suspensions and scandals have followed the very best players like a bad fart. As well as athletes in solo sports like track and field and cycling have had their share of PED scandals, leading to the stripping of their medals and trophies. Though the NBA has prevailed and survived, its reputation is largely unaffected by the PED use. In history of the NBA, no more than 2 players have tested positive in a single season for PEDs. By November 6th, 2019, we already have 3 PED-related suspensions to begin the season. Wilson Chandler tested positive for ipramoline in August, which ipramoline is a peptide, and it's formerly what is known as a growth hormone. DeAndre Ayton was suspended for using a diuretic, which is often used to mask steroid use. John Collins tested positive for growth hormone releasing peptide 2, which is obviously a growth hormone as it's in the name. Compared to all other professional sports, the NBA has the smallest number of players test positive for PEDs in the history of sports league. Do these recent positives mean players are doping more, or is the system working and they're getting all caught finally? Did anyone watch the Netflix documentary Icarus? It's about the PED usage of Russian sport overall. They had a complex system that allowed everyone to use PEDs without getting caught, though eventually an athlete was chosen to be the scapegoat and had their failed tests released to the public, which gave the impression that the system actually works and would find PED use accurately. But in reality, it was only a smokescreen to mask a bigger problem, just to hide it from the public's eye. We assume that the athletes who are deemed scapegoats have some form of compensation or hush money. If not, then some of other agreements have to be made, because I'd be very surprised if any athlete willingly released a failed test and killed their career or hurt their reputation. With that being said, I think there has to be some sort of incentive to keep the system quiet, assuming that is, like I said, hush money works as an incentive for anyone who goes down for this, as the athlete would probably volunteer to fail because he'd be willing to take the incentive to let his failed test go out because he'd be rewarded for that. An analogy to this would be like when your flight is overbooked and the terminal announces if someone vouches or volunteers to catch the next one in exchange for a free travel voucher. Except in this analogy, instead of a voucher, the athlete's receiving millions of dollars in compensation. Another thing to consider is that if you don't believe the PED use is rampant in the NBA, if you go back and look at all the Olympians that tested positive for the 2012 Olympics, those athletes and their entire countries were trying to have them pass those tests, but it simply was not enough for them to pass. You might be thinking players might have definitely been caught and suspended before, like Hedo Turkoglu in 2012, as a name that some come to mind when you think, wondering how did Hedo Turkoglu get caught with PED use and how did he even get caught? There must be rules against it. Was he just stupid and got caught? So, with that being said, the NBA uses WADA and the USADA banned substance list, which is about as tough as you can get. The NBA also gives players 2 in-season random drug tests and 2 out of the season random drug tests. Those tests are allegedly extremely difficult to pass. So 4 tests a year and you get 2 warnings. The NBA used Hedo Turkoglu as a scapegoat after they got some pretty heavy criticism after the Olympic Games because every American NBA player participating in the 2012 Olympics refused to take part in the doping test. Normally, refusing to take a test is the equivalent to a positive result, but that was swept under the rug and made a non-issue until the media started reporting it after some time the games were over. The NBA has never had a PED scandal because their ability to control the testing of their athletes. The NBA athletes are tested 4 times a year, able to receive 2 warnings before being suspended for a 3rd positive test. The NBA does the testing themselves, and it seems like the NBA chooses the scapegoats with positive tests. I personally don't see why it would be controversial, which is what NBA execs are thinking, the best quality of basketball is played with PEDs. I'd like for the audience to go watch an NBA game and be fully immersed in it while not feeling bad that you can't do what they're doing. They're on performance enhancing drugs and you're probably not.